One of the minor mysteries in the story of One Piece has been Kuma. We first see him introduced in the Jaya arc alongside Doflamingo, and let's be honest, we didn't realize we were witnessing the two most well-written characters in One Piece at that moment in time. We all know the deal with Doflamingo, the way he was raised and what he witnessed as a child that molded him into what he is now. He is the type of character who you don't agree with but come to understand, which in turn made him one of the best written characters in One Piece because how well executed that was. But what surprised me about Kuma was how his backstory not only holds up, but it is so good that you can argue that he is a better written character than Doflamingo. And here is why that surprised me. Traditionally in stories, especially anime and manga, it's the characters that have done the evil, heinous activities that are easier to write well, because when it gets explained why those characters were engaged in those activities, we come to understand them and they might end up as fan favorite characters, like your Doflamingos, Eren, Itachi, and also seinen characters who learn from their past mistakes and become a better person, like your Thorfinns, Musashis, and Guts. But Kuma is a good guy, and always has been, so his story risks being boring, but little did I know what I was going to get into. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, it will mean a lot. And now back to the video. There are the major mysteries in One Piece that we, the audience, desperately want revealed, such as the Void Century, the One Piece, the identity of Imu, and there are minor ones that are not as grandiose as the ones I mentioned, but still very interesting, and one of them was Kuma. Kuma, after the introduction with Doflamingo in the Jaya arc, appears in Thriller Bark, the infamous scene where we as the audience lose all hope after the Straw Hats are forced to fight another warlord in Kuma after barely defeating Gecko Moria. Kuma in those scenes appeared as a mysterious cold figure with his protruding chin and Bible. He felt as if he was the embodiment of mystery itself, and the way the background characters were hyping him up, explaining that he is the only warlord who obeys the world government's order 100%, added to the sense of hopelessness when he was ordered to annihilate the Straw Hat crew. And all that transpired with him served to make him one of the most interesting warlords, not to mention the fact that he was aware that Luffy was Dragon's son. And then we get to the events of Sabaody, where he seemingly annihilates the Straw Hats, but in all actuality he was saving them. Why did he do that? Who ordered him to do that? There were many questions regarding the case of Kuma. Furthermore, he was also busy protecting the Thousand Sunny during the 2 years the Straw Hats were busy training. Barring Shanks and some other prominent characters like Gold Roger, he was the character I wanted to know more about. Why did he do all that? Who is he? And there was also the plot point that was subtly put in there of Bonnie crying and cursing Vegapunk in Sabaody during the Marineford War. The way all this question slowly gets revealed in the flashback, the way how it explains everything about him to the random detail of why he even holds a Bible was exemplary. It was because he was a priest, and I really love that attention to detail. Kuma, ever since he was a kid, has known nothing but hardship. He is from a race called the Buccaneers, a race that has been ostracized by the world government since the Void Century. We are yet to know those reasons. His race were made to be slaves and etc. And once you're a Buccaneer, it is difficult to live a normal life. We see that in the flashbacks where he was a slave as a kid with his enslaved mom and dad, and the harshness of a slave's life took his parents. Since a little kid, Kuma has been witnessing many horrors, and he met Ivankov and also Genie, who would become his romantic interest. He met them in Gad Valley. He was also present when the Gad Valley incident happened. It was then when he got his powers as well. After that, we cut to a scene where years has passed by and Kuma is a priest in his small village where he resides alongside Genie. Kuma is his usual kind self in those scenes, but when it gets revealed, he takes the pain of his village folk and absorbs it every day. Truly signifies how kind a man Kuma is. That badass scene where Zoro takes Luffy's pain and absorbs it was happening to Kuma day in, day out, which made me respect him even more. And one thing I want to touch upon is how the world has messed with Kuma mentally. Since his human mom was affected by having relations with Kuma's buccaneer father, Kuma is afraid to have relations to the point that he rejects a marriage proposal from Jenny, the woman he loves. And as time passes by, the situation with her becomes even more tragic. She gets kidnapped and forced into a marriage with a celestial dragon. Her being taken away by the celestial dragons and the things that was done to her. I remember first time reading this and it was one of the darkest feeling I've ever gotten reading One Piece. It makes you realize a lot of the horrible things that happen in real life happens in One Piece as well, but since One Piece is a shonen, Oda doesn't state things explicitly. It's very reminiscent of what happened to Boa Hancock and her sisters. It's implied that really horrible things have happened to them that I cannot say here on YouTube. It's implied that those kind of things has happened to Genie, and if we don't hit the celestial dragons enough, here's another reason. Genie managed to escape but has a catastrophic illness which takes her life away. Kuma gets to her but it's too late. She has passed away. She has a kid which Kuma vows to raise, gaining even more respect. And from this we understand how Kuma's and Bonnie's relation came to be. Bonnie had the same illness that killed her mom, so we come to understand all the sacrifices Kuma made. Losing his mind and body bit by bit was all for her sake. Him visiting many islands in search of cures for Bonnie's disease, which explains how he was able to send the Straw Hats to different islands when he separated them. That piece of detail again I think was pretty cool. The letters he sent to Bonnie, the mountains of letters sent just to be thrown up by that Cypher Pole agent, that was very frustrating to watch. Kuma, no matter how cruel the world was to him, he never stopped being a good person. Sort of like Corazon, Doflamingo's brother. Kuma had all the reasons to be a true tyrant like his moniker. This guy is too much of a fighter to be defeated by hate. He fights for his love, which is Bonnie. He sacrificed everything. He fought for what he felt was right and joined the revolutionary. Can't help but appreciate how his character developed from when we first met him with his cold, stern and changing face he had back in Thriller Bark. Kuma is a truly kind person. He was not only kind when things were easy, but even in the darkest of times, he was kind. And that is what true kindness is. If you've made it this far, again, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And with that said, see you in the next one.